After 8 months, has Adobe Fresco finally made the changes that they promised that they would? Has Adobe Fresco come back from the dead? Has Adobe Fresco finally made a comeback as the best drawing app available on the iPad Pro? Has Adobe Fresco finally crushed the industry-leading leader, Procreate? Is Adobe Fresco now suddenly a perfectly free app available for everyone to use for the rest of their lives? Were the answers to most of those questions probably no? Yes, but if you want to know more, find out next time on Ergo Josh TV. Just kidding, we're going to find out right now in this video. Keep watching. This video was sponsored by Paperlike. Alright guys, so this is going to be a pretty chill, relaxed video. I wanted to just quickly get in here and talk about Adobe Fresco. It's been 8 months since I reviewed it in my last video, and if you watched that, you know I had a lot of negative things to say about it. So like I said, it's been 8 months, and over the past 8 months, they've been making a lot of changes and a lot of updates to the app. So today, I just want to go through my list of bad things that I said in my last video and see whether they've made some changes, made some updates, or maybe they said that they were going to take a look at it and it's been requested, or maybe they just haven't changed anything at all with the issue. So let's just go right ahead and jump right into it. So my first issue was that the layer tools were kind of far apart and it was kind of slow to use because of that. But I kind of got used to it, to be honest. I've been using this for quite a while the past couple days, several hours in fact, to make this sketch that you're probably seeing somewhere happen on the screen right now. And I just got used to it. It's still kind of annoying. Yes, it's still really slow compared to Procreate, but it's usable. You know, it's not something that's really going to break everyone. And there's plenty of other applications that do similar job to this or way worse, like Clip Studio, for example. It's pretty much just a carbon copy of the desktop version onto the iPad. And so, you know, with all those buttons and all those settings there, it makes it really, really difficult to use. Fresco, on the other hand, is better than a middle ground between Clip Studio and Procreate, for example, so it's definitely usable for most people. Really quick, I forgot to mention, I'm not sponsored to make this video. I am not being compensated or coerced to make this video. I just wanted to take another look at Adobe Fresco because I was really interested in seeing finally an attempt from Adobe to really address us as digital artists. So I do really take a lot of interest in this application, and they seem to be really dedicated on making a lot of changes and making it a really great app. Now, the next issue I had with it is that the option to see the brush outline was not available. And unfortunately, that is still not available today. And this is something that I am really disappointed about because it is my biggest issue with precision here. I need to be able to see the brush. I need to be able to see the outline of the brush as I'm working and as the brush size changes. This is in every app, every desktop app. It's just, you can't not have it in a digital media. It's not the same thing as reality. You know, in real life, there's so much data we're getting when we're actually drawing. It's collected by our eyes, by our hands, everything. But in a digital format like this, we can't get as much information, only what the iPad, what the technology can give us. So that circle that we can see telling us the size of the brush or maybe the brush stamp shape is really, really helpful. So I hope that they take this seriously. The last request I saw for it was last year. So I hope they take another look at that. Now, my next issue was with the quick tap tool. And so this tool is something that you can double tap on or tap to hold on to switch different tools. And it has a lot of different little functions in there. But for me, I like to use it to just switch to a different tool. It's definitely better, but I find that the main issue with it is when my hand is actually resting on the surface of my iPad. It seems like Fresco has a little bit more difficult time with palm rejection than other applications I've used on the iPad Pro. And because of this, when my palm is on the iPad, even with my artist glove here, it just immediately rejects when I'm holding on the quick tap tool, and it just switches back to the brush I was using before, which is kind of annoying. But if I hold my hand above the iPad surface and I use it and draw like with my hand over it like this, it's fine. It works really well. So hopefully they can find some settings or have some settings available for us so that we can really just get rid of the palm if we need to. Something similar to, like, I know again, Procreate has. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to compare it with Procreate so much, but I got to, you know, it's my favorite. Now, the next thing that I had a problem with was the brush eraser in my last video. It was a really, really boring, really sharp, simple eraser that was just a hard round brush. And now they finally added a lot of different brushes that you can customize to use as your eraser brush. So now when I take my Apple Pencil and I want to use the double tap tool, I can double tap to a brush that actually looks good and makes sense with the brushes that I'm using to sketch with. You can see in the video when I'm doing this sketching process, when I erase, it doesn't have this really jarring effect where there's this sharp just carved away paint or strokes as we're looking at here since I'm just drawing, and it looks nice. It's able to give me a really nice workflow where I can draw, erase, and it really looks good. So kudos to them for completely fixing my issue with that. My issue with Procreate I keep saying Procreate. This is so bad. Okay, so my issue with Fresco last time was that you can't add, you can add brushes. You can add brushes. That's always been a thing. But you can't duplicate them and you can't make new ones within the app. Now, I do understand their point here if they don't really want to add this feature, because you can sync your documents to the cloud and then open them in a desktop Photoshop application, which is really cool. And since Fresco uses the same brushes that Photoshop does, you can just use brushes from Photoshop and import them into Fresco, make new ones, duplicate them in Photoshop, and import them into Fresco again. Even though that takes longer, it's a workaround that does work. However, there is one little caveat to this. You have to make sure that your brushes from Photoshop are light enough so that they can run full speed in Adobe Fresco. For example, I have Borodonce's brushes, and you should check out his YouTube channel, by the way. He has absolutely great content and super entertaining to watch. Very, very informational as well. But his brushes are extremely rich. And so when I pulled them into Fresco and start to use them, there is a pretty significant lag. You can actually take a stroke and then you can see the brush slowly follow it, because they're so intense. And this is really unfortunate because Adobe Fresco's brush engine, like I mentioned before, is amazing. It's definitely better than Procreate. It's super creamy. Like, I can't explain it. When you take your brush and paint in Adobe Fresco, it feels like magic. And that would have been so great, a great combination with his brushes, but they're way too slow. They're way too intense to be used on my iPad Pro, which is a pretty decent model. I have the 12.9. I mean, everyone has the same amount of RAM with the 2020 model, so it's like, it sucks. So if you want to import your brushes to and from Adobe Photoshop, make sure that they're light enough not to be bogged down with the limitations on the iPad Pro. Now, a couple small issues I had were the double tap to hold to undo. Still not there, but again, that's really just a nicety. And the next one was the screen record feature. I'm not sure if it's better, but since I was drawing in black instead of pink this time, it was a little bit more visible. But to be clear, it's still completely fine if you want to use it to post to something like Instagram. But if you're trying to use it for YouTube videos like mine, it's probably going to be a little bit too blurry. But it's definitely something that's worthwhile. And I like, again, that I don't have to turn it on like Adobe, like Autodesk Sketchbook. You have to turn that on, I'm pretty sure. So it's nice to just have it here, and I can always have it if I need to and just export it really easily. Now, the next really interesting thing is I complained that there wasn't a smudge tool, which is something that I use a lot with my artwork. But here they kind of had a workaround for that. So what they did was they included their new mixer brushes from Photoshop into Adobe Fresco. Now the mixer brushes are, I like to think of them as an in-between between the live brushes and then your typical pixel brushes. They kind of allow you to mix and match colors around on the canvas as you paint, and you can actually change the settings for these mixer tools as well. So what I found is that if you do a few workarounds, you can actually create a blending brush by setting the mixer tool to white and making sure that your entire canvas has paint on it, whether it's a white background or it's whatever that you're actually painting. If you try to use the mixer brush as a blending brush on a canvas that has transparency on it, it's not going to work out too well. So I don't know if they can fix this or not, but I still find that really cool that now there is a way to blend things. And a pro that it has over Procreate is that it doesn't have that weird kind of weird effect, that kind of banding effect, or these weird kind of artifacts when you blend too much. Fresco seems to really take control and add a little bit of texture in there and make things look consistent and really nice no matter how much you blend with the mixer brushes. Now, the last issue I had in the video was the ugly, if you remember, and that was when I would flip the canvas, it would just completely brick my iPad. Not brick it, but it would just break it, and it had to like restart. I had to restart it in order to get it working again. And then when I would use the lasso select tool after I'd successfully flipped the canvas after a few tries, then it would like mirror my selection. It was just completely broken, and unfortunately for Adobe, that was just a like day one issue, seemed like, and they had it fixed by the time I had my video out. So all of that's fixed. You can flip your canvas now. You can select stuff after you flipped your canvas, and everything works fine. So if you're interested in what I was actually painting today, I was trying my best to emulate Glenn Keane's drawings and the way he sketches into my own artwork. I love the richness of the pencils that he uses. Adobe Fresco really allows me to do this easily. I love how the brush engine is, how creamy it is, combined with how well the tilt is and how it works with the default charcoal brushes there. It was just a pleasure to use. It was so good, in fact, because I was able to utilize my paper-like screen protector in combination to add a nice smooth grain effect that felt like I was drawing on paper. Paper-like is a matte screen protector that you can apply to your iPad just like any other screen protector, and it adds a really beautiful grain effect to when you're drawing. You can actually hear it in some of my videos, and some people actually thought it was a sound effect that I added, but no, it was actually just the screen protector. All the lights I have on in my studio make the glare really, really unbearable, but with this, combined with the effective placement of lighting, there's no glare at all. I really recommend you guys take a look at it. Paper-like 2 is a revised version of their initial Paper-like that is out now. It's been out for a while, and it's even more grippier. It lasts longer, and I find that it's just an invaluable tool. I can't really enjoy drawing on my iPad without it. It's more grainy than my Wacom Cintiq that I have out there. It's just a really, really nice pleasure to use, and it makes the iPad really feel like a portable sketchbook that I can carry around. If you want to purchase your own Paper-like today, links will be in the description box below, and as well as a pinned comment right below this video. And again, another plug for me, if you want to check out my drawing, I did a lot of this on Twitch and I had fun. We sang some songs and we had a great time trying to figure out how to learn from Adobe Fresco here. And if you want to follow me there, you can just follow me at ErgoJosh on Twitch. I stream there Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, that about wraps it up for this video. It's pretty quick, but I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you take a look at Fresco because it's pretty cool. I definitely will be keeping it around to practice my Glenn Keane studies like this, but I'll be doing most of my work again using other apps until I can really get that, that ability to see the brush circle. That's really, really my biggest gripe here. The brushes and all the other issues were really not that much of a big deal, but I really need to be able to see the brush so I can really get in there and be accurate and not have to undo so many times when I'm trying to get the nostril line in there. That was like the most difficult thing for me during this entire process. But enough with that. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Keep drawing, stay safe, and stay positive. Peace.